Never let go forever. Never let go forever. Never let go forever. Never let go forever. Sunshine!
Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Third Impact Anime Podcast. My name is Austin, and we have our first anime convention of the year that we are going to be talking about today. We went to it a couple of weeks ago now at this point. We're recording maybe 10 or 12 days out from the ending of the con, and we went to Ibashocon. That is Ibashocon in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we are going to be talking about it a little bit today, at least from what we can recall, having delayed recording this episode because we've been quite tired and doing lots of other things, but that's no excuse. And speaking of no excuse, who else do I have with me on the episode?
Oh, excuses, huh? Well, I don't have a good one.
No excuse.
So I can't make one, so you're right. No excuses. Hello, it is me, Tori.
Tori, you also went to Ibashocon with me as well.
I did. I actually was able to receive a press badge, and that was a lot of fun, and I documented, and now I'm here to talk about it.
So you're saying that this is your confession opportunity to get them to, see why giving you a press badge was just a horrible waste of time and money.
No.
And they should definitely never do it again.
No, I utilized it quite a bit, actually.
What's the word on the ground there, crack reporter Tori? What did you think about Ibashocon 2026, especially in context of this being their second year? We went to their first year last time, and there were some things about this year that were a little bit different. But go ahead and do you want to kind of lay the groundwork a little bit before we get into talking about the convention itself?
Yes, let me grab my notebook because I actually was crazy and took notes all weekend. And I was writing
Crazy
it down.
good at your job.
I wrote all of my notes in sparkly purple gel pen, so that's how you know I'm a professional.
So I think we briefly discussed this convention in passing on previous episodes. We did not do a full convention Con-versations episode last year for whatever reason. But this is a convention run by Animazed store, which is a local chain in North Carolina. I say chain, they have like 3 locations, but that's still quite a few for the area and quite a few for an anime store in general. And they're pretty much exactly what they say on the tin. They are an anime store, but they also sell manga and video game merchandise and like danmei and things like that.
K-pop.
And yep, K-pop stuff. That's a big part of their business as well. And they started, I want to say, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, something like that, with their single location. But apparently the store itself goes back to a previous iteration that was in the, early to mid 2000s that closed down. And then sort of this new incarnation is what we have now. But they've, been a fairly successful chain, I will say, having gone to the store many times. Well, not many times because it's about an hour and a half away from where we live, but I would say a solid handful of times. I'm quite impressed with the store. I think it's very clean. It's very well presented. It's got nice friendly staff and lots of stuff stocked on the shelves and decent prices, I would say.
Yeah, they're really killing it for a local anime store, specifically. I think they do a great job at I think just from what I have seen on their social media, it seems like everybody that works there knows a little bit about everything. And I think that is the way to run and keep a anime or any kind of like specialty retailer afloat, because I feel like if you cater to just one or two of the same things or be or the widest demographic at one time, it doesn't always go as well as it could. So I think they've done a really good job at sort of like knowing what people are after in a store like that. And every time we go in there, I walk out with at least one thing. So it's working on me at least.
And they have a lot of personality, I would say, on their social media. Very, very
Yes.
social media conscious
Yeah.
business. They're always putting out little cute videos and sketches and sort of showing off new products in funny ways. And they did this as well for the convention, but they put on one last year, first iteration of this. And I think the idea behind the name is Ibasho, meaning like a place where you belong. And that's kind of their angle here, is that their kind of subtitle is like, be your true and authentic self. So it's all about kind of a mission statement around like self-expression and finding community, which I really click with that, because I think that that's a really great way to advertise that you are focused on like the people that make this community what it is. I mean, I know it's literally being put on by a business, but the Ibashocon to me strikes me as much less of a
Corporate convention.
a corporate convention, a money-making scheme, as a lot of other conventions in our area, especially those that are kind of creeping into the anime space. I'm thinking about stuff like Galaxycon's Animate, which is, again, it's just GalaxyCon again,
Corporate
but with yeah, exactly, with all the GalaxyCon problems, but it just happens to be able to avoid using the name because it's their like anime and animation specific offshoot or whatever, and we have one of those here in North Carolina now. And there's also some other like corporate chain conventions moving into the area, like Big Charlotte, which is like a spin-off of Big Texas Anime or Comic-Con or something like that. That one actually got snowed out, so we did not get a chance to go, but not something I was hugely looking forward to, because it seems to be like a big corporate chain, and then the insert city name Anime Fest sort of
Yeah.
mass
it seemed-
production.
Yes, a bit like the GalaxyCon shows, where you're already going to pay an exorbitant, ridiculous price to just get through the door. And then everything else you're going to participate in the rest of the weekend is also going to have some crazy price.
Right. And Ibashocon, in contrast to those, is like obviously quite community run. Like, these are actually real people who live in the area that are connected to the fandom community in North Carolina, and are making space for a lot of homegrown expression, I guess, is how I would call it. But
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't remember who I was talking to over the weekend, but I just remember being like, hey, you know what? As somebody who's been going to these things for a decently long time, this very much reminds me of how I felt when I was younger and I was at these events, and there wasn't always something going on, but I was still having fun. And I think just looking at this, you can really tell that it's put on by people who know what they're doing. They care about what they're doing, not to like gas them up too much, but like they know what they're doing. They're involved in the community space. I know the store is always doing little like fandom meetups and things. They have Danmei days. And they're trying to foster this sense of community, and I think it shows very much in like the convention itself, and that is so important, I feel, especially now when so many community spaces or conventions, it's either like all for profit, they're trying to nickel and dime every single thing out of you, period, or it's just so easy to get lost in like the bad side of fandom space and community. And I don't know, maybe I'm just being too nostalgic, but I don't really feel any of that there, and didn't last year either.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But yeah, what were some highlights about of the weekend for you?
Oh yeah, I really loved going to the cosplay they had two separate events, and I think this is normal for most conventions. It's just I'm starting to pay more attention to it now over the past few years. But they had one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and the one on Saturday was like anybody could sign up to basically walk the cosplay runway, whether you made your costume or not, and just get people to look at what you did. And then Sunday was like the actual like judging, like I'm entering this as a, you know, builder of things, and those were really fun. It just like tickles me so much as an adult, like watching kids get up there and they're just having the time of their lives. And I'm like, dang, that warms my heart. So the cosplay stuff for sure. I really enjoyed the idol show on Sunday. That's also another thing I've really been getting into the past couple years. And we were joking about this because this is so out of character for me, but when we were going around just like talking to all the artists and vendors on Saturday and Sunday, that was really nice. And just hearing like how their time was going and their experiences and who they've been talking to. And so I don't know, just hanging out and vibing, honestly, all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
What were
Yeah, I
yours?
would agree with that. I mean, I had some panels that I had done because I did submit this year. They really improved the panel situation overall this year, because last year they only had one single fan panel room, which was a big sticky point for me because I submitted a panel and actually got rejected. And I'm not bitter. But it's like whenever I got there, I realized, oh, wow, it's because they pretty much only have like a single, fan panel space. And that was one major. So they couldn't afford to accept a whole ton of panels because there's only so much time. And plus, last year was only 2 days. Whereas this year was 3 days. They expanded out to include Friday as well. And they set up an additional fan panel room where myself and some other friends who are also panelists, like Kamanegi Jake, he did, like a ton of panels. I think he did about 7 or 8 hours himself. Yeah, it's quite a feat, but that's just who Jake is. He does a lot of great stuff about like, what did he do this year?
I finally got to see, which I was so excited about, the cool manga no anime, I think he calls it.
Yep, cool manga no anime. I believe he also did his Ibashocon panel, though we missed it this time. Yep, and he did other stuff like a panel on Japanese infrastructure that I unfortunately missed. He also did anime fandom in the 2000s, around the anime fandom world in 60 minutes. So that guy is a panel creation machine. So somebody I can deeply relate to.
Yes.
So we caught some of his stuff. We also caught another panel on I caught another panel on the Evangelion iceberg, which, the whole iceberg meme about like, just going deeper and deeper into a subject to find the more obscure knowledge. That panel was really fun. The panelist is a guy that I've seen around in this area before. He's I recognize him because he has this really cool like Rei Ayanami embroidered bomber jacket. And I'm just like, hey, it's the Ray jacket guy. But also this time around, he brought the gals with him. He had 2 big cardboard cutouts of Ray and Asuka that he brought to the panel, and apparently also to the fandom meetup, which we were unfortunately not able to attend. But that panel was very good. But that does remind me, I wanted to say about how, like, it's pretty typical at conventions for them to do like photo shoots and things like that themed off of like a specific property, right? So, and those sort of they're mostly like cosplay focused events where, everybody gets together, they do their photos. It's like, okay, all the Soras you get over here, all the Rikus you get over here, and now kiss, and all that stuff. And that's
What
that's
photo
kind of what
shoots are you going to?
I'm just, I've only these things that I've heard through the grapevine, of course. But that's typically how they go. But at Ibashocon, like they didn't really have I don't know if they had photo shoots. I didn't really pay that much of
Okay.
attention, but
So they did.
okay.
It was they were all scheduled to be in the room that was across from the arcade. Um,
Hmm. Okay.
and they were in the schedule because I wrote down specifically that the Jujutsu Kaisen one was on Friday and it was during
Mm-hmm.
your trivia panel. So every time I dropped off the
Ah.
papers, I would run over there to try to see who was in there.
Oh my gosh. I had no
That's
idea
why I
you were
kept
doing
running
that.
out. That's why
I
I
was
kept
too
running
locked
out.
in. Well, to be fair, like the doorway was like whenever I was looking over towards the doorway, that's like where one of the tall speakers was. So I couldn't really even see the
Yeah.
exit very well. So I had no
That's
idea you were doing that.
so
That's
funny. Yes,
so
I would
funny.
collect papers. We would grade
Mhm.
them, and then I would like run them back, and then I would duck out. I saw one Choso cosplayer, and that was it.
Mm.
So I don't know.
That's really funny. But what I was trying to get at was that not only did they apparently have photo shoots there, as I'm just now learning just now, but they have the ability for you to submit like meetups where you could do different like fandoms that you're a part of, and then you just it's not really as much of a cosplay thing as it is like, hey, fans of this thing, come gather in this room for like an hour. And it's just meet other people who are specifically into the thing that you're into. And I think this is a really fantastic idea. I'm sure that there are other conventions that do it, but to me, it can be sometimes a little bit difficult to be in a situation at a convention where you can like, I don't know, make friends, like
Yes, and
directly.
I feel like a lot of the times those sorts of things, most conventions turn them into like dating events. And that is, I'm not saying that that's not okay. That's
A
fine.
recipe for
but
disaster.
correct. But it's also just like there should also be a space where people of certain age demographics are allowed to go in and just like meet friends. That is okay. We all do not have to, walk away from the convention married to another human being. We can just, go make a friend.
Correct. And these
Yeah.
are not like a speed friending kind of affair. It's like
No.
literally just the room and then people who are into your, Jujutsu Kaisen fandom or Chainsaw Man fandom. Like I guess there's an organizer kind of like they do with photo shoots, but they facilitate, just the meetup. And there was one that I went to last year that I had a lot of fun with, which was, I believe, like older anime fans, like fans over
It was like
30.
a 30 plus meetup. Yeah.
30 plus meetup, which happened again this year, but I was unfortunately not able to attend because we were doing something else. So, but I just wanted to mention that because I think it's just such a great idea, and I hope that they continue to do that and, make space for, making, because, you're always on the go with these things. Sometimes it can be really hard to stop and, have a conversation with someone, and this kind of narrows down the field a bit, because as much as anime conventions are about anime, they it's like everybody can kind of be there for like vastly different reasons. It's like the sub communities within the sub communities, and this kind of gives you a chance to meet and mingle with people who are into specifically the same things that you are.
Yeah. It's just, nice to have expectations of actual conversation, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess while we're still on panels and you mentioned it, I guess I could briefly talk about the ones that I did. So I did 2 panels. I did a trivia show. I did my Kingdom Hearts trivia. And I did Spider-Man in Japan once again, which I've talked about before on the podcast, but maybe not in a while. But Kingdom Hearts trivia went very well. I had to, because Ibashocon's panel submission form was a little bit more strict than some other places. They were only accepting 1-hour panels. So I had to trim back both of these panels a bit, cut out some sections and tighten up the trivia. So I was only able to do, I believe, five rounds of trivia, whereas I would normally do, where I would typically do like 6 rounds, and then I shortened each round from being 10 questions to being 7 questions, or 8 questions. I don't know what numbers are, But it still worked out pretty well. My attendance, I would say, was not nearly as strong as whenever I did this at Animazement a couple of years ago, but that's fine. I mean, it was a much smaller convention anyway. I think they only got maybe a few thousand people to show up, but it was still really fun. And I came up with a great way to honor the winners and the losers. So I've had this Kingdom Hearts 2 towel in my collection for a really long time. It's been in the plastic for like over 5 years, and I got it out. And I was just like, this is perfect. This is going to be the tapestry of victory and whatever.
What else would we use it for?
Exactly. I'm not going to use it as an actual towel. Are you kidding me? No way. But I got that out, and I had the winning team hold it up and took a picture for posting, because it's all about posting. And then our friend Paul, listener to the show and lurker in the Discord. Hey, Paul. He randomly got me this Ichiban Kuji prize from a Kingdom Hearts Kuji. It's like a little head hood thing with a shawl, like a shoulder shawl thing on it, of Mickey's Organization 13 coat. And so I was just like, this is perfect. My initial idea was that I was going to wear it myself during the trivia, but I abandoned that idea because it just didn't look very good. And then I decided this is going to be the shawl of shame for the losers. And then I had the losing team. One person would wear the shawl and the other person would hold up the floppy ears to, make the Mickey silhouette, because the ears do not stand up on their own. But I don't know. That might be funny just to me, but I thought it was a good bit. So I'm going to keep doing it.
It was pretty cutesy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
I like to be cutie patootie at every given opportunity.
Life is too short to not cutie patootie Max, okay? Oh my gosh, did we go to any other? I'm trying to think if I went to any other panels on Friday. I know I and a friend tried to go by the swap meet. And that was sort of set up very interestingly. So it was
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a trinket swap meet. But I think I misunderstood, and I think it's a swap meet, I guess, so maybe that all was on me, but you could like go in and look, but I think the people that were there were really expecting you to actually like have things with you to trade. Versus like the flea market where, you just go and it's like, hey, do you want $5 for this or whatever?
So it wasn't a sales affair. It was really meant to be actual swapping.
Correct. Yeah. Flat out just trading. So I wish I had been a little bit more prepared for that, because I definitely had some things. And basically the host just had everybody pick a spot, set up shop. And so people had really good things. So I hope they were able to successfully trade. And then I feel like that's the only thing other than helping you with your panels that I went to on Friday.
One of the first things we did on Saturday that I thought was extremely novel and very cool was that they had the Japanese a cappella group or a cappella club?
It was
Japanese
the
choir
Triangle
club?
Japanese Chorus.
Thank you. But
Yes.
they were doing a performance that morning of just did they have a they had like a piano track or something that they were singing along to, but
Yeah,
but they did like a couple Annie songs. They did the One Piece We Are opening. They did the Attack on Titan opening. They did Tsubasa wo Kudasai from Evangelion 2.0, and yeah, it was really neat. And then the organizer at the very end, after they were all done, were just like, everyone, please join our club. You don't have to speak Japanese. Just come on. That would be cool if I lived a little bit closer.
Man, yeah, stuff like that makes me miss working in the Triangle.
But I thought that was a really cute thing. It was a nice little like extra splash of culture, getting a local group involved. And it seemed like so much of what they focused on was bringing in, major players from like the local North Carolina scene. Like I know a lot of like there was a big presence from like Ultimate Comics. There was a big presence from like Oak City Esports, which are, folks remember from back in the day, Edwin, our friend who's been on the show before, he does a lot of esports stuff with them. Lots of incorporation from like Raleigh Retro Gamers, which, Ryan and Will are, involved with. So just to see this as like a big nexus point of bringing in like actual people in the actual community all together to make one big thing happen, to me is kind of living up to their stated motto. And I don't know, I just, as somebody who's big into, community connection and finding cool people who are doing cool things in your own backyard, it's just that kind of thing really appeals to me.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the chorus performance that morning because I was just like, dang, this was like an Animazement event, because they're always doing the cultural, like the outreach sort of stuff. And that makes a huge difference, I think, because as somebody who's been going to conventions for a very long time, it is so easy for con programming, like, to just overlap. Does that make sense? It's like, oh, this one panel, did I could have seen this at this con, or that con. And it's very important for conventions to prioritize good panels, because especially nowadays, I feel like that's what ends up sticking out in my mind, where if it's something like really unique that nobody else is doing. And I would say some of those guests and events over that weekend felt that way for me, for sure.
And I like how in the cosplay competition, they were really involving the judges, and they let the judges all speak and talk about their own individual process for judging. And they were all quite fascinating. One of the, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but one of the judge pairs was I guess a husband and wife, and they both talked about how they had written a book that's coming out about leatherworking for cosplay. And I think I've also seen a panel related to that also on the schedule at some conventions before, so that may be them. But hearing the different judges speak about their approach, I thought was really fascinating to me as somebody who doesn't really frequent a lot of cosplay related events at conventions too much, because that's not really my scene. But to go into that realm of it was quite fascinating. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and we'll try and go to more things like that.
Oh yes, them getting up there, or the whole team that was running the cosplay stuff. I just knew, I felt so confident in the back of my mind that them getting up there and having everybody explain sort of the processes of judging and how just the smallest minute detail can make or break something, and like what somebody 15 rows back does not see that the judges are seeing up close. It may look very, very simple, because there's just been so much discourse over the past few years, I think incorrectly so, of like, well, that costume didn't deserve to win. That's just blah, blah, blah. But like they said, you're not up there seeing every single hand-sewn bead and every single French seam and every single this and every single that techniques that take a long time to do well and crafters spend hours on. So I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, aha, this is a CYA moment, I believe. But that tends to be more towards like the bigger shows where people, just because it took them 12 hours to sew a shirt, they feel entitled to win. And it's just also subjective. I don't know, but that made me giggle.
Right. And kind of on the opposite end of that, because it's not a competition, it's just a showcase, which I think makes it even more fun. The idolfest that you talked about a little bit earlier, man, that's becoming one of my favorite things to see at conventions. I believe I talked about this on one of our last convention conversations, but it's just so much fun to see all the hard work that these folks put into their dance routines and their cosplays to go along with it. There's some really great talent out there at even these smaller conventions. It's just a blast.
Yeah, and I think as somebody who used to dance for a long time, it's just like, I promise it is so much more than just looking at a video and trying to copy it. You know, you have to make sure you're synced up with the other people you're performing with. You have to make sure that your facial expressions are appropriate. You have to make sure you're not like
even if you are exhausted, don't look it.
No. Oh my gosh. So I think even it being like the North Carolina like cause idol community, at least from what I've seen in very small portion, I think like even from an audience perspective, like with my bit of knowledge, just being able to be like, okay, this group is definitely like just starting out, but like the sheer fun that they're having, like their stage presence, I think makes up for some of that. And like skill is something you can always develop over time. Nobody starts out doing anything perfect. And I think a lot of these performers, they're fairly young. So if they keep at it, they're going to be, you know, doing crazy stuff in no time. So I think the energy is very infectious.
Absolutely. And particular shout out, I think we've seen this person do this before, but the MC for the Idol Fest
They were the MC
talented
last year.
Yeah. Great ability to, I guess, wrangle all those cats and segue well into between each performance. I thought this person is incredibly talented at this, and I felt similarly about the person in charge of facilitating the cosplay runway on Friday as well. Some very good some very good presenters out there, and I think that can, I don't know, maybe that's a small thing to some people, but I think like you have to have a good, strong, charismatic like presenter for these things in addition to just the talent, because it has it has to flow well. It's stage performance, right? It's all part of it. And the guy who was the MC for the Gachiakuta cast panel was also doing a very good job. Had good presence, was able to get everybody hyped up, and ask pretty good questions, and then sort of let the audience take it from there. And also let the talent just kind of riff up there on stage and talk about whatever they were inspired to discuss during that particular panel, which I guess is another thing we could talk about.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because I feel like that wraps up Friday fairly well. So I guess moving on to Saturday after we went to the, choral performance.
Oh, you were going in days? I've just been going.
Oh.
I've just been like riffing.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that. I was trying to, but that's
You're trying to stay organized. I was trying to sabotage that.
Yes, you were. How dare you? Saturday afternoon, I was so super duper excited because obviously we talked about it in the 2025 anime roundup, but I have very much been enjoying Gachiakuta and us making our way through that. So when they started announcing guests that were going to be there, which I didn't go get a single autograph. I'm really ashamed about that.
Neither did I.
There was so much going on. But that's okay. I'm sure they'll be back. And so we went to the Gachiakuta, like the cast panel. And it was held in sort of their main, like what Ibashocon has set up as their main events. And it was fairly full. I'm not surprised at all by that. We got there kind of early, and I got up front with my press badge. I want to just shout out, I know they're not listening to this at all, but all of the cast up there so hard trying to swerve past spoilers for everybody in the crowd, because that just, I don't know, we're barely through it. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. I don't have to get up and leave. But just hearing their experiences and how much fun they have been having with the dub, that really stuck out to me because, I mean, the dub is one of my favorite things about the show. And just why am I blanking on his name?
Main
Oh
character.
gosh. No, Zonka's voice actor, Corey.
Corey Wilder.
Yes. Let me double check that I'm right on that, and then you can just edit it. I'll segue back into it a little bit cleaner. One sec. I should have wrote down names, but that's on me. La 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 la. Correct. So sitting in the crowd and hearing like Corey Wilder especially talk about how they have kind of sort of pretty much been given free reign because of the sort of bombasticness of the animation in general. Lots of very big expressive movements and facial expressions and lip flaps. And so they have to get like a little creative. And they were all kind of talking about how much they've really enjoyed being able to sort of incorporate sort of modernisms and AAVE and how it just so seamlessly all blends with the world and the characters. And I'm like, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a great fun dub that feels very appropriate for the vibe of the series. And I think listening, because at that time, seeing the panel, like we hadn't really watched too much of the show, but them talking about it and then going back home and then watching more of it makes me just appreciate it more. Because I think, I don't know, at least for me, like most of the time whenever I learn about the process of how something was created, and if there's like a lot of love and intentionality placed into something, I'm probably more likely to enjoy that thing kind of in retrospect. And I've definitely been feeling that a bit as we continue to watch through Gachiakuta and see the fun that is expressed through the dub performances. Not that I think that this is necessarily not the case for other modern dubs, because I definitely think it is, but it's Gachiakuta has a different kind of energy to it that it makes it a bit more unique.
Oh my gosh, I know. And just seeing like the way they all interacted with each other, it was very much like you could tell they were all having a really good time, just sort of hanging out and being silly and working on this show together. And I also think that helps sell it all, where it's like they, of course, at the end of the day, voice acting is a job, but it seems like they all get along fairly well. And I think that just sort of adds extra oomph to it because it just pulls everything together.
I do think it's really funny that, well, I don't know, this is a bit funny to me because Gachiakuta is such a new series. And I know it's getting its flowers and getting its following and gaining a whole lot of new fans. It's like clicking with people. But whenever I saw the guest announcements come through for Ibashocon, months and months ago, I was just like, wow, the convention staff are really going hard into this show. It's going to be very embarrassing if this show is not nearly as good as they're trying to hype up, because it's just like, oh, we've got such and such from Gachiakuta, we've got this person, we got that person, it's like the whole cast, and I was just gonna be like in my head like, wow, this is gonna come across as very embarrassing if this show comes out and is a huge flop, but it did not. So
thankfully, yeah. I mean, so far, knock on wood. But hey, they were all saying that they've read the manga and it stays pretty consistent, so I'm not worried, I guess. Yeah. I love that little anecdote that Brandon Laura shared about trying to go and find overalls because he wanted to dress up as
Oh my
August
gosh.
for like the weekend.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, that is absolutely like, oh, you must never have cosplayed before in your life because one, yes, overalls at a sporting goods store are going to be very, very expensive. And like, two, they shouldn't be, but it cracked me up because you never
Mhm.
realize how expensive like something like that is going to be. And then him being like, do I tell the cashier that I'm this character and this is why I'm buying these overalls? Because like, look at me, I don't belong in here.
I do
I
think
was like, oh.
I don't know. I feel like the vast majority of cashiers at places, like if you tell them like, oh, I'm buying this for a cosplay, like I feel like a lot, well, not even just cashiers, but I feel like most
Yeah.
people nowadays, like they
Know what
understand
it
the idea
is.
of what a cosplay is.
Yeah.
But if you got too
I
into
just
the weeds
tell-
and was just like, oh yeah, I'm buying this specific pair of overalls because I play this character in this one show, that the cashier probably just glaze over.
Yeah, I've just started being like when I had to go into Lowe's to get the stuff to make my staff, the guy was like, "What are you making?" And I was like, I do costuming and I'm making a prop and blah blah blah." And he was just like, "Okay, dear."
Though I feel like you don't even need to couch it in the word costume anymore. I feel like cosplay is such a
Yeah.
well-known thing, even among like non-anime people. Like it's just part of the modern lexicon.
Oh yeah, sure. But you know, I'm not about to get into it with a like 70-year-old man in the middle of Lowe's or whatever. But
He could be a master craftsman. You never know.
hey, that's true. He could be working on like one of the world's longest running D&D campaigns that he has like hella fan art and costumes for. I don't know.
True.
You're right.
You never know what the person looks like underneath the fursuit, because that's the
That's
idea,
true.
right?
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Oh my gosh.
What were we talking
but-
about?
I don't know. Anyway, so I thought it was so sweet as well how they were like so excited to interact with the fans in the room, especially the people that were in cosplay, and it was just such a cute little back and forth. And I just,
Yeah, one of them
I
even
don't know.
commented how there was a character, there was a person dressed as a specific character, and they called out to them, and then I guess the person shouted back a line, and they were just like, "Oh wow, it's like the actual actors in the room with us." Like that was a really good
Yeah.
impression, or it was just a cute little moment.
Yeah, there was another one. I was trying not to look so I didn't have anything spoiled for me, but they were like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see everyone but you."
I didn't even
You're
turn around, so
evil.
I have no clue what
I
specifically they were
know.
talking
Who
about.
was it? I'm scared.
I don't know.
But yeah, I guess we'll find out. But I don't know. I think I feel like I've spoken to voice actors before that always share sentiments about how they really love going to smaller events because they're able to do stuff like that more. They're able to really have a little bit more one-on-one time with the people in front of them versus a lot of larger events where it basically is just like okay, tap your cards, say the line, and you move on, you know?
Right. With this one, I mean, the grand total amount of they only had 8 like voice actor guests at Ibashocon, which I mean, I guess that's not like minuscule, but compared to certain other conventions, like that's not very many. But
No.
when you are at a smaller event, you can kind of be not that it's necessarily about this per se, but it's like a big fish in a small pond. Where like it's more of a big deal that these specific people are there, so they get like a little bit more time with the fans, a little bit more prestige, I guess, in these smaller, more intimate events, and also the fans themselves can spend like more time with them rather than feeling like they got to get in and out and rush through when there's 100 million billion people there.
Yeah, I thought it was a really fun time. I don't get to go to as many voice actor / industry panels as I would like to, so that felt like a little treat. I really liked it. And then later that evening, or later that afternoon, we ended up going to the fast fashion and cosplay panel.
Yeah,
And
that was good.
that was really good. However, the poor presenter, and I have to wonder if there was some kind of like convention-wide tech issue, because we heard something similar from someone else about the HDMI setup not working, like they weren't able to get their computer to show
Yeah,
up
there
on
was a
the
couple
projector.
of hiccups.
Yeah. So bless the poor presenter. You did amazing, just in case you're listening. But
Yes, agreed. This
they
person was basically like, I'm going the show will go on. I will just present to you on my phone and mostly just like lecture.
yes,
So
uh-huh.
like that,
So
and
on the
that's the
fly.
way. That is the way you do it, because
Yes.
never give up, right? What did the Japanese fishermen say? You never give up.
That's right.
Just do it anyway, the best you can. The show must go on.
Yes. And I'm glad that their panel was not heavily reliant on slideshows. A lot of the knowledge that they were sharing was very much like spoken from their mind. So poor me. I was in the second row and I couldn't see off the phone. So but that still was a lot of fun, a lot of good tips, you know. Try to book on places like Mercari and Depop and like Facebook groups, because you never know who's selling what. And I stand by that, because that's how I get a lot of my merchandise nowadays. So
Utilize local thrift stores to see if you can find your
yes.
stuff.
Yep, because you'd be surprised how many cosplays, if you just break them down to their bare bones elements, you literally can just go into a thrift shop and get most of it and not spend a ton of money.
Yeah, and that's what they were kind of talking about as well, about sort of embracing the closet cosplay, being like, well, what do I already have that
Yes.
I could, rework slightly to make it work for this or that character.
Also, shout out to them, because we passed by them again on Sunday on the way out, and they were cosplaying Chill Chuck, and I was like, heck yeah.
On a different day than you were cosplaying Fallon, because that was your
I
curse.
know. That's what they said. They were like, you were Fallon yesterday, or you were the Fallon from yesterday. And I was like, yeah, that was me.
Which that reminds me of a completely different thing. So the hotel restaurant bar-restaurant was open for the majority of the weekend, and they had specific kind of Japanese dishes that they were serving, at least for lunch on Friday, because we got there and we're kind of felt a little bit silly that they just put away the special menu like 15 minutes before we got there. But anyway, the other food was pretty good, but they had like curry and they had like katsudon and some other things that was I thought pretty good.
Oh yeah, I was very satisfied with the food. But another part of that I wanted to talk about when we get into more general, like, these are things I noticed that could be improved. So don't let me forget that.
Okay. Don't forget
But
food.
yeah, do not forget food. But yeah, that was actually a nice option, because just a side tangent for a second, that particular stretch of road where that hotel is, for those of you who know the Raleigh area, that part specifically, it's a little hard to get in and out of there for food. There's not much really within walking distance, because you're on a pretty heavily like used road, with not very many crosswalks or anything.
And the hotel itself does not have a massive amount of parking.
No.
So if you get a good spot, you'll probably lose it.
Yeah, you could walk back down to where like the Trader Joe's and the little like shopping center places, but it's not going to be pleasant. And that's not really the fault of the convention by any means, because I mean, they're having their event where it is. So I think if they continue to utilize that, but maybe somehow expand it, I think that would be pretty helpful. But you can only do so much.
Sure.
But after the fast fashion panel. We ended up sticking around in the same room to watch the diversity and inclusion panel that was run by some of the folks from the Raleigh Twitch community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that was how do I want to explain this? I
It's very
think it was
conversational.
yes, yeah, and that's so rare with panels, especially kind of like nowadays. And I thought that was very interesting. It brought up a lot of like, hey, I'm running into this in my community. What are some things? And I think both the hosts gave some pretty insightful information. And it's always very important to be having those conversations in spaces in these communities now more than ever. And so I really commend the Ibashocon panel people for, accepting and letting this panel be run, because I know that may not be the case at some places.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about maintaining what anime conventions at their and anime communities at their best have always been, which are places where everyone can feel welcome. And if you are the type of person that doesn't want to make certain people feel welcome, well, you're not welcome anymore. And just constantly being mindful of self-policing, I guess, but also like being mindful of like what kind of attitudes do we want to make sure are not fostered in this community, and what kind of attitudes do we want to lean into to make sure that people feel like they are welcome and belong when they may not feel welcome and belong in other places. And that was kind of the general gist of the panel.
Yeah.
But it was very good.
Yep, and I can think of some very like formulative convention memories for me where I wish people had stepped in when things were happening, but also like I also have the same memories of other things where people did step in, and I think kind of using some of that information that they gave, and when safe and able to do so, like be that change you want to see in your community.
Yeah, don't let the rot fester.
Correct, because that's not good for anybody. And then we ended up ducking out relatively early on Saturday. I was kind of surprised about that.
Do you want to talk about VTubers?
Oh my God, guys. Ugh. That was life changing, not life exchanging. Well, maybe they stole my life force. I don't know.
I mean, that's how VTubers that's how they get sustenance.
Oh my gosh. So one of the vendors over the weekend, why am I blanking? Zephyr Arcade?
Zephyr Arcade.
Okay, thank you.
It's an arcade in Durham.
Yes, we can cut that. Let me redo it. Hang on. Oh, hi, Boba. One of the vendors over the weekend, Zephyr Arcade, who operates out of Durham, friend of the show, Edwin, assists with them every now and then. They
enemy of the show, Edwin.
My mortal enemy, Edwin. They had a little screen set up multiple times throughout the weekend where they would have a different VTuber kind of show up for about 30 minutes and chat with people. I had so much fun. Man, that was embarrassing for me. I'm not gonna lie, but it was so much fun. And
what about it was embarrassing? I have to know.
I don't know. I just felt so silly because like they could see me, but I couldn't see them.
What are you talking about? You could see them perfectly.
But I don't know. It felt so novel. Like I understand it now, I guess, because like I would always see those videos of like the really popular ones being rolled around on a like Karen from SpongeBob, like on one of those things. And I'm like, this is kind of goofy. I don't know, man. Why are people like bowing down to the screen? And I'm just like, oh no, I understand.
Now I'm a screen bower.
And I had a very lovely chat with one of the employees at the booth, my frenemy, and they were telling me all about VTubing and things like that. So who knows? Maybe you'll hear me one day. Oh, but it was cute. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, it was a very cute setup. It was just basically like a little screen with a webcam attached to a Discord call, and the VTuber would just like talk to people that were walking around like briefly. And what shocked me the most is that like every time we turned the corner and walked back around the booth, it was like a different VTuber. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like how many VTubers does this arcade owner know? Like, my gosh.
I know. I loved going every lap, and every time a new one, I'd be like, "Do you want to see what I bought?" And they'd be like, "Hell yeah, open the bag."
It was very neat, very novel, and I have a feeling like we will probably start seeing this more often.
Yes. Well, it's funny you said that because when we went to the flea market the weekend after, another vendor that was also there ended up having a very similar setup, and the same exact thing happened. I was like, "Hey, do you want to see what I bought?"
You got sucked into their vortex.
I did. I felt the aura from the other side of the room and was just like, in like a movie where they're like having a psychological breakdown and they're like, their eyes are real big in the camera. That's how I felt like getting over to the VTuber. What that says about me, I don't know. But,
and kind of also on that note, this was a totally different thing, but one of the artists that was there throughout the weekend is someone who also does VTubing, has like a lot of art of their original VTuber character. I was not familiar with this artist or the VTuber going into this convention, but I am now quite familiar because their bit was so good. Like they were there physically present, but they were wearing a cute paper bag over their face the whole time because I guess they want to preserve that anonymity. Very much like a Paru Itagaki style mask or a Yoko Taro kind of thing, but it was a paper bag, which I thought was hilarious. And they were very nice at their booth, very talkative, showing off their art. And they would do this daily thing where you would have to guess what is in their butter dish. And if you guessed correctly, you would get like a free little trinket or whatever. We guessed multiple times and failed every single time. But it was still like a very cute little... It was a very cute little bit that I loved. I love that sort of kind of thing that you can only get in a convention atmosphere. That's the kind of stuff that gives me life.
Yes, absolutely. She was so sweet. I really had fun talking to her all weekend. And she had a really cute little thing where it was a notebook and she had like Post-it notes next to it. And basically people were leaving her really nice messages and doodles all weekend. And we left a couple in there. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe all of that appealed to me because maybe it is easier for me to speak to somebody when I can't see them, even though they can see me.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't have to worry about eye contact. Oh, goodness.
It's all coming together. But yeah, I will say I mean, this is not new for me, but I just continue to get reminded every convention that I go to about how much of a fan I am of the Artist Alley, just like as a thing. I'm such a big dork for a giant room full of artists who have set up their own bespoke little stands to sell their little wares. And I'm just like, everybody's so talented.
I know. I think too, as it gets easier to buy so many things secondhand, like figures and that sort of stuff, bar the very unique vendors who sell like mostly vintage and like really eclectic things. But it's just like, I know now that I can just log online and go to like Surigaya or Mandarake and I'm going to get it for a lot cheaper, basically brand new. that I just don't even worry about the vendors hall anymore. It's just the dealers. I mean, sorry, it's just the artists. And I'm like, yeah. Feels like a better use of my money, I suppose.
And I did notice one thing that is both kind of sad and kind of it's sad that it has to happen, but it is very necessary, and I'm glad to see people taking this stance. I saw a number of artists over the weekend that had specifically created like little signs to post on their booth that say like no generative AI was used in making any of this art. Like I did all this myself and stuff like that. And you know, with the world being in the situation that we are with generative AI and how like easy it is to slip into spaces, like I really appreciate seeing this very public facing disclaimer that says, no, I reject this stuff. This is stuff that I made. And I love seeing that because, you know, why I as a customer would want to purchase something that person did not make themselves, that they just used the plagiarism machine to produce. Like I have no interest in that. And I'm sure that that signals both like a rejection of generative AI, which is morally good, and sort of a commitment to integrity on behalf of the people in the artist alley, which is just it's nice to see. It's nice to see.
Right. And I will say there was one booth selling AI art, but we were speaking to another artist on Sunday, and apparently it had been reported and it was confirmed that person would not be coming back.
We love that because they did have a policy against it.
That's right. And the thing is like, you know, you never know because we're not, you know, looking at these vendor applications. You never know what they're submitting to the convention itself and then what they show up with. So I try to give some grace on that because the application, as you said no AI. And I because there is so much focus on local artists, especially with like the people they get to do their merch designs for the actual convention. It's Broken Rice, right?
Yep, Broken Rice, who was also there doing a live drawing out in the main thoroughfare.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe it's me being naive, but I don't think anybody would have purposefully accepted a AI artist. So it made me really happy because we both clocked it when we rounded that corner on Friday. We were like, oh, crap. But it seems like it was handled and correctly taken care of. And I know I was not in the dealer's room all weekend, 24 hours, but I really did not see that booth making any sales when I was in there. So I don't know.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Exactly. I would, you know, much rather have a okay piece of art on my wall than an AI generated piece of art. That's for sure.
That reminds me of the one vendor at Animazement who I really hope comes back this year, that all their drawings were like quote unquote bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Like they were all like little like minimalist doodles that look like somebody would draw in like the side of a napkin.
Yes, I know exactly.
But they were all
what you're
like
talking about.
Incredible. So good. Love that.
Yeah.
I think you got a power print. We need to find that somewhere. That's got to be around here somewhere.
I didn't get a print. I got buttons from them, I think.
Oh, right. The power button. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. Love that artist. They are so good. But yeah, I think the artist alley itself, there was a good mixture of different things in there. I think a lot of conventions are starting to sort of move away from 15 crochet vendors, and I say that as somebody who crochets, and like 15 3D printed articulated dragon booths.
I could go the rest of my life and never see one of those ever again, and I would be better off for it, I think.
Lord. I can't wait for the inevitable heat death of the universe, and all that's left in the landfill is articulated dragons and Gojo figures, so whoever takes over thinks that one of those two things were our god.
No, it's gonna be Funko Pops. It's gonna be it's literally going to be Gachiakuta with those trash monsters, except they're just made out of Funko Pops.
Oh God, I thought you were gonna say articulated 3D Gojos, but
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's all plastic at the end of the day.
That's true. It's so true. But yeah,
Or some
I
sort of
felt
vinyl
like
polymer that can't be recycled or something. I don't know.
yeah. I feel like there was a pretty decent amount of variety. There were some really unique things I think that were being sold. Like I think that one artist, I wanted to buy one so bad, where she was making those really cool like patchwork sweaters. But I was just like, oh man, I've spent a lot of money. I shouldn't, but they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. And I feel like you see t-shirts a lot, but I very rarely see like handmade clothing in the artist alley.
Yes.
So
That was super cool. I feel bad. Like, I feel like we could make this episode so much better if we had actually like written down the specific names of these artists rather than being like, oh, this artist or oh, that artist that made this thing that I like. Cause I'm just like, oh man,
I know.
we are totally worthless podcasters, and anybody who's listening to us and thinks we have anything useful to say is just a moron. So
run away.
Very, very sorry for the way that we are. Maybe one day we'll get it together.
Yes, it's one of those things where like you just expect to remember it in the moment, and you're like, no, I won't forget this, and then everything else happens over the weekend, and then you forget it.
I will say that in an effort to briefly do the right thing, there was an artist that I bought a really cool Lupin III Castle of Cagliostro print from that Bill will get as a gift eventually. And I'm not going to tell him about it anywhere else except during this episode. So if he finds out about it before I hand it to him, it's because he actually did listen to an episode that he's not on. So we'll see if he actually messages me about it. But yes, it was a beautiful print. And they also made some Nana prints.
I bought
that you had. And their artist name is nosignal.exe. And we also saw them again the weekend after at another craft event. And they had a little sign out there that says like apparently they have worked on various Western cartoons, including Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which I watched last year, and I got to talk to them briefly about that. They did some like background character designs for that, and I'm just like, that is so freaking cool that I have your art and you are right here, and you also worked on this cartoon. How neat is that? How neat is that?
I know. It's such a small world. You really never know who you're gonna run into.
Exactly. Any other major parts of the convention that you wanted to discuss? I mean, I guess we could talk about what did they use? What terminology did they use? Because everybody has a different one. There's Super Happy Fun Sale. There's Otaku Flea Market. Yeah. They called this the Otaku Yard Sale. Was that it?
Correct. Yeah, it was the Otaku Yard Sale. And other than the idolfest, which we already kind of talked about, I think that was the last kind of big thing we ended up doing. And I'm of two minds of this. One, it is a smaller event, so maybe where it was made exact perfect sense. But I'm also just like, dang, it really is unfortunate that it got kind of put into that room and there was maybe 10 tables, if that. And I think some people were taking up more tables than they perhaps should have.
I think
respectfully.
This hotel is not small, but it's not massive.
It's not big. Yeah.
But I do think that based on the layout of everything, it looks like Ibashocon utilized the spaces really to the best possible degree that they could.
Yeah.
And even that being said, I feel like if the convention grows any more exponentially, then they're probably going to run into some trouble. And this is kind of a good example of that, because that space, like you said, was not the most conducive for having like a lot of vendors, or not necessarily vendors in this context because it is a yard sale, but like individual people selling their stuff at individual tables. Although the way that TriadCon does theirs at the Benton Convention Center in Winston, I also don't think is necessarily the best, because a lot of people are just
No.
like literally out in the hallway. So I don't know how to do this unless you have like such a massive space that you have like another ballroom that you can set up in, like AWA
Yeah.
does. So I think it's just one of those things that you just do the best that you can.
Of course, yeah, and I don't necessarily, be like, oh my god, the convention's ruined because they didn't lay out the flea market like I wanted it to be. But yeah, I guess because my frame of reference really like ingrained in my head is the sale that they do on Thursday at AWA, and how that is laid out fairly well. And so I need to, not that I was expecting that level, but I think if they can figure out logistically a better area to put it, because it just felt like there was one table specifically that I felt like I had to fight tooth and nail to get up to look at. And then people kept like cutting me off, but that's more a people not having social skills issue than like really anything else at the end of the day.
It's because you're short.
I mean, yeah. However, I will say though, like the few tables that had really good stuff had really good stuff. I ended up walking out maybe with like $20 worth of stuff, and then I came back and made somebody an offer on a plushie that I thought was going to be way too low, and she was like, "Yeah, take it."
Get this out of my house.
Take it, put it in your house. Now you're cursed.
And what was it?
It was Maki from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes.
Oh, and I got a mole car, so really it's, the opposite ends of the spectrum.
And I ended up getting the round one Otto statue, the singer Otto, that I had wanted since I found out about the round one collaboration, because Otto is great. And the statue is pretty cool. And apparently getting more difficult to find. So I'm glad that I found that. And somebody was also selling like some Japanese Blu-ray box sets in there. For a good deal. I got the entire Japanese box set of Kisniver, which is a series I never finished, so obviously I had to buy it. And then they had volume 1 of Little Witch Academia, which has never gotten a complete physical release at all in the United States. So any opportunity to buy Little Witch, even if it doesn't have subtitles, which I don't think that it does, it's just like I'm doing the best that I can here, because it's still stuck in Netflix jail.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just worth having it physically because, I mean, I don't know. You never know.
And it has cute little replicas of the Shiny Chariot performance ticket from the show, tucked into the volume, and they're very cute. It's a nice nice little set.
Yeah,
Gosh,
I
what
remember
else
you
did I
picking
buy?
up that Otto figure, and I was just like, "You're dumb if you don't buy that."
True. I was very smart because I did buy it. And then we got some other art. I got I got the free run in the Mimic statue.
Oh yeah, so happy you got that. I'm trying to remember what I bought. I bought a lot of art and a lot of stickers. And then I bought,
highly recommend everyone that's listening to get a sticker book. It will change your life.
I found a few Precure things, which was exciting. And there's one figure vendor that I buy from a lot because they always have really good stuff, like ridiculously good stuff. But she this time had a few things open out of box. They were just in their kind of like protective plastic. And they sell those for half off. So of course I bought those. And then they have the thing with all the like the wire racks with all the Kuji little prizes in there. I love them and I hate them so much. Because then they got me again at the flea market the week after.
Yeah, you got me a really nice Kana statue from Magia Lumiere.
I did, yeah.
Which I really appreciate in her in her magical
Yeah.
girl uniform, which I said this whenever we bought it, but like I love those magical girl outfits so much. It's like they're not even that complicated, but I think just the gimmick of them being like uniform, like business uniforms or like public servant uniforms combined with like a magical girl aesthetic, like for some reason that just really tickles me.
That's so good.
To have the figure is like, yay, fun.
Yes. I was on the hunt for a very specific figure. I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I made us go to the Animazed store on Sunday before we left to go home, and they didn't have it either.
One day,
but it's
whatever
fine.
it is, it will appear in front of you when you
It
least
will.
expect it.
When I least expect it, and may not even really want it, but I'm going to buy it.
Kids listening at home, please do not waste your money on things you don't want to buy, like Tori.
No, I do. I have never bought anything that I didn't want.
Sure.
Nobody can get between me and a little plastic man, okay? Anyway, that kind of sums up everything we did over the weekend. And I mean, I have like some kind of general notes that I was thinking about
yes.
over the weekend.
What are some of the critiques? Because I have a couple.
Yes, I want to say A+ to staff for making sure that the water dispenser, even though I think there is only the one in the game room, which is fine because the convention it's like the convention center is not, or the hotel is not that large, so it's not like I have to walk 10 minutes to refill my water bottle. But that thing. Wait, there was one in the main events hall too, but that's it. There are none on the other side, which hopefully that can be fixed at some point. But those things were full of crisp, cold water all weekend. And that is a feat because plenty of conventions I have been to, the water is out by Friday early evening and it never gets refilled. And as somebody who
or all the cups are gone or something like that.
Yeah, there was cups and water all weekend.
Which
and
not like you shouldn't be bringing a water bottle with you when you come to the conventions, but if you forget, I mean, they need to have the cups stocked.
Yeah, it's there. But the thing is like, as somebody who needs access to water for a multitude of reasons, just knowing that like I didn't have, that was one less thing I had to stress out about over the weekend because I mean, they had a Starbucks in the hotel, but it was busy a lot of the time. And
that can't be your only thing you rely on. Exactly
right. And it's just like the water bottles for sale in the hotel lobby and their marketplace were probably like $4 a pop. And that's just a lot. So I know that seems like a really small, silly thing, but that meant a lot to me
huge.
that it was, kept up on all weekend because that helped me not have a migraine or pass out. So fantastic.
Gosh, that did make me think. This poor lady. We were coming in on, I want to say, it was either Friday morning or Saturday morning. And we were right behind, I guess, an older lady and their kid or whatever. And apparently the lady fell in the bathroom like as soon as she got there. And I'm just like, oh, man. I think she ended up being okay because I asked staff about it a little bit later. But they did end up having to call the ambulance. And I was just like, man, what a heck of a thing. Like you get there, you drive all the way wherever you're from. You get there, you walk into the place and you fall down and hurt yourself. Like, man, doesn't that suck?
I know, that's rough. Because who knows how far they drove to get there.
But hope that lady's doing okay. If you're listening, lady, hope you're all right.
You better be okay. Completely random note I wrote down, but I wrote Friday, very cool inside, yay, smiley face.
Probably the most comfortable temperature I've ever been at a convention because it was in February and the air conditioning / heating was working in the facility itself. So I was like, I was not sweaty at all.
No, I was sitting in your panel Friday afternoon shivering. I mean, I know I was like dressed pretty lightly, but I was like, oh, I'm cold. I've never felt like this before.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but like if I'm not in a convention hall and shivering then there's something wrong, because that's what I want it to be like, because you're going to get hot enough anyway, even if it's like the dead of winter. So they need to keep those places cool.
Yeah. I want to also shout out, because I know this is probably more on the hotel staff, but I thought the event space and the hotel areas were all very well kept up, very clean. Probably some of the cleanest convention bathrooms I have ever been in. Like, I feel like all weekend somebody was in there cleaning. So I know that's more like I said, the hotel staff, but I think that's
worth mentioning, though.
Yeah, a very missed opportunity for a lot of events and things that I've been to. I've been in some con centers where I've just been like, I'm not going to go to the bathroom until I get back to my hotel room, actually. Because it feels like a war zone, basically, in the bathroom, and it's gross. And then, let's see. I feel like the staff and the volunteers, everybody I interacted with over the weekend, were all very professional and friendly and helpful. No issues as far as that goes. That goes a long way, especially, there's a good handful of conventions where that's not the case. Anytime I had a question, it got answered. So I appreciate that a lot too. My only real criticisms, I think, I only have a couple, actually, which is very rare. The big thing for me was I was very graciously given not a staff badge. My goodness. I was very graciously given a press badge. And that was really wonderful. And I am so sorry if I maybe missed this somewhere, but I feel like I had a struggle figuring out what that granted me, I guess is how I would phrase that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what the benefits and expectations were.
Correct. Yeah, because I think of like, I wasn't able to go, but I was accepted for a press badge for Gachiakuta, and their press liaison was like, you let me know, but typically, if you have an interview you would like to do with somebody, if you have staff questions, logistics questions, like anything, he was like, this is everything your badge gets you. You just reach out to me if you need anything and we'll make it happen. And I think this is the first year that Ibashocon has even done that. So I understand, that they're working the kinks out with that and trying to figure out. But I don't know if I was allowed to ask for like a guest interview, or if it was like on me to go to their table, and I didn't want to be, weird about that. And then
some clarity would be nice.
Yes, absolutely. And then I think, once again, I'm sure this is just a first year issue, but my badge said volunteer. And I was scared to death all weekend that somebody was going to come up to me and ask me for something. So that's just my little thing. Like, hey, I understand, this is the first year you're offering this, but maybe some sort of separate designation on the badge that says press, like most places. Because I don't know, I just wanted to avoid any sort of awkward situation. But other than that, I mean, I had no issues being like, hey, I'm press. Can I get in here to get a seat for XYZ, like for the more major events? And it was easy as pie. So, no issues really.
I have two major issues.
Oh, okay.
One is that I don't like Eventany at all.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And I have something to add to that too.
It's a bad platform that I don't enjoy using, because I don't think that the layout for the way that things are presented on that website is very user friendly. I don't like how mushed up the event schedule tends to be. I don't particularly care for the forms that they use to, have you apply for certain things.
Yeah.
It's a very messy platform, in my opinion. I feel like, as much as, sometimes just doing the basic Google form is the way to go, whether it's, Google or something else, but like, and just having a lot of your information available just on your website specifically and not forced through Eventany, to me would be helpful. Like, I don't know, just having like a PDF that I could download of the event
Oh my
schedule
gosh.
would be nice. That I could just keep
Yeah,
on my phone and not have to load up Eventany. Like, I understand, like, stuff like that, you're able to update in real time, you're able to make adjustments to it, yada, yada, yada. But, like, at what cost? It's like, not the greatest platform. And then my other thing, well, yeah, you go ahead into
Okay,
that.
well, I was just gonna say, it got to a point where I was so agitated by Eventany that I started literally handwriting everything I wanted to go to in my notebook.
To which I would
Because
say
even
they did provide a hard copy of the event map, which is great.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
please, conventions, I beg of you. I know we are firmly in the smartphone digital era, but
Stop making me use my phone.
exactly. I am here in this meat space to not use my phone for a little bit. If I want to
Correct.
use my phone, it's because I had a funny joke and I want to post it on the blue skies, or because I want to take a picture. Like, I don't want to just be looking
No,
on
I'm trying
my
to
phone
agitate
to
my
figure out what I'm
homies,
doing.
not me.
Exactly. I want to not use my phone as much as possible. So give us a printed guide. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this just to Ibashocon. I'm saying this to all
No,
conventions.
like every convention. Hey, I will say though that I did notice this year they had the printed schedules out in front of everywhere, like in front of the rooms. So theoretically,
yeah,
you
that
could
was
take
good.
a photo of that.
Mhm.
But
I like that a
I will
lot.
say I felt so visually overwhelmed by the way the schedule looked on Eventany. I mean, print out I know we have the issue of if something changes or something gets canceled. I mean, it is what it is. That's just the risk with that. But make like a pocket guide. You know how some events they'll have like it'll all be printed small on one sheet of paper and then they fold it up into like a little booklet, like a pocket booklet. Just anything like that. Because I don't know. I'm just thinking of like accessibility issues and just like straight up just annoyances in general with any event posting on Eventny. So that's
It's also
my
good
pretty
for
big, like,
it's good for archival purposes as well, to have something to refer back to years from then, because I'm pretty sure the event pages up on websites like Eventany only stay up for as long as you continue to pay for it. So if that's the only way that people have a record of what that they did, or other things that they want to look into, back in the past, like, of course, I'm going to say this from like a library / archivist point of view, but like, you need something that's going to be more permanent.
Yes. And also the fact that I found, I don't know if it was just my phone, but I was running into pretty poor service in the panel rooms, especially.
Yes.
I guess with them being in the back half of the building, that does make sense. But also, like, I don't want to rudely get up in the middle of somebody's panel, disrupt and distract them to check my phone and then come back. I don't like to do that. So I think that could also mayhaps fix that issue.
And my only last thing was that, because this is the world that I live in, and I've seen the way that other conventions do it, I think it's a huge missed opportunity and kind of a little bit unfortunate that Ibashocon doesn't do any kind of reimbursement for panelist badges. I think that, not only as a panelist, but not just speaking for myself, I guess, but speaking for all panelists, that, it is pretty typical for conventions to offer either some kind of discount on the badge, proportionate to how much panel programming you provide, or some conventions will just straight up give you a free badge if you perform any panels at all. But Ibashocon doesn't have that. Like, I had to pay the exact same amount that any random attendee did, and I did, 2 hours worth of panels. I don't like that. I don't think that should be a continuing policy. I think that Ibashocon should find a way to reimburse panelists, or really anybody who's there doing some sort of service or free service, provided to the convention for programming, entertainment, et cetera, et cetera. So however y'all can figure out how to do that would be great, because I think it's a small gesture that will keep good talent coming back to your event. And really, events cannot run without good talent and good people, there putting on solid programming. So that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's other conventions that sort of operate the same way, but beyond your, you know, voice actors, your industry guests, like you have tons of other people giving their time to be there to put on a good show. You've got, you know, panelists, like you said. You've got the people that perform in the cosplay contests. You've got the people that perform in the idol shows, the judges, like literally everybody, you know, and obviously you can't run events for free. I understand that. But it's just, you know, you don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
but even then, like, you have to look at ratios, right? Like the amount of individuals that are doing this sort of stuff is probably, and this is like probably me overestimating it, less than 10% of the amount of people that are attending your event. People there to actually facilitate certain things. So the vast majority of people there are just there to attend and have fun. So you're not going to lose any significant amount of money by offering just complimentary or discounted badges to people there, you know, performing or offering a service of some kind. Like it's just it's a good faith gesture to show that, hey, I appreciate you doing this free labor. Here's a complimentary badge. Thank you. Like,
right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I would say this to any convention that doesn't do things this way.
Right. And, you know, maybe they are for the cosplay judges, but then I'm just like, okay, well, without the panelists, what else would you have? You know, it's like,
exactly.
Who else is gonna step up and fill in that content? But once again, that's not directed at this convention specifically. That's everybody that doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think my only one gripe that I have left is that it's cutesy. I get it. It's cutie patootie. The panel / event room names, guys.
Oh, yes.
Please.
Thank you.
So
it's so you want to introduce that for people who don't know what you mean?
Yes. Okay. So for instance, the main events room at Ibashocon, and it was the same way last year, was called the Heavenly Capital. And that's great. I love it. I love a theme. I love themed language as a former, you know, Disney World employee. It really gets me going. However, it is a logistical nightmare. Especially when on the sign you do not have in parentheses main events, or the arcade, I think, was called the Circuit Grid or the Grid something. And below that, it should have said arcade, game room, whatever. Because
the panel
once again,
rooms were called the Chaos Hub and the Nova Station. So to me, like, which one is the big panel room? Which one is the small panel room? I don't know. Yeah.
I am all for staying with the kind of themed names, but I think they just need that little caveat. And because I remember the cosplay contest on Sunday, they made some announcement, and we can cut this out because I can't remember word for word what it was, but they ended up having to have somebody come on stage and make the announcement about, like, please check the map for the room names and the events and the this and that and the other. So I think there must have been some confusion about something logistically that the attendees were having trouble with, that there ended up having to be a Sunday announcement. Not to be too harsh, but
there was also another announcement, maybe a separate one, or it could have been the same one, where they were reminding people that there were artists and vendors out in the hallway.
Oh,
because
gosh,
apparently
yes,
they were getting missed, which is really unfortunate because there were some of the best vendors and artists and community groups out in, like, the main hallway that was separate from the artist alley and dealer's room properly. But I think just because of, you know, I don't know, maybe attendee psychology or whatever, people just kind of beelined into the actual main panel. I'm sorry, the main, like, dealer and artist hall, and, like, kind of walked past the other people that were outside, even though the people outside, you literally had to walk past to get into the room. But it's one of those things that, like, even if you say it out, it, like, logically makes sense, but you're just walking around, you know, kind of on autopilot. I could see how people would just make that swerve. I mean, I did it myself, but that was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I feel like they were having a tough time out there. So I made sure to stop by and sort of look at everything out there at least a time or two. I got some really cool stickers from one of the artists out there.
Yeah,
So
really talented
see,
people.
you guys could have had cool stickers. But I think, how do I had an idea in my head that I forgot to bring up, but I was just like, man, they could really like lean into some sort of theming out here and make it like a festival, like a summer Matsuri festival, even though it's in February, so don't mind that. But like, or like a school sports festival event thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like that very
Yeah.
specific aesthetic. And like maybe giving people like some sort of like art or iconography, like official convention stuff. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, some other conventions do this where they have like a specific theme for the year and they really lean into it. And sometimes people choose a theme and then they don't lean into it. So is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, kind of like make it a festival market type aesthetic out there, because that's what that hallway sort of reminds me of. It's that like long straight
Oh, you mean
path.
kind of like decorate it in like a broad
Yes.
sense rather than just like the
Yes.
individual booths.
It being a hallway. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a convention kind of do that, because even in like the big elaborate booths, they tend to be kind of self-contained. And I think they
Yeah.
probably do that, one, because, you know, it would be a whole lot of work, and two, because even though there's a lot of overlap in general styles, like people's booths tend to be kind of very different in the way that they're shaped and the way that they're configured and things like that. So it may not necessarily work, but I love where your head's at. I think that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah, even if it wasn't like them taking over the layout of these people's booths, more just like putting something to draw people into that area, sort of. Like make it like, I don't know. I'm picturing something very specific that I just can't convey, I guess.
No, I think I get what you're getting at.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that really is it. Like I'm so happy that we were able to go again. Like I said before, it reminds me of like a very specific time of going to conventions, sort of in the early days when I was younger. And I think they have a lot of opportunity to continue to grow, and no event is perfect in the first few years, but I think they actually implemented a lot of the feedback that people gave them last year, it seems. And I don't know. It's just so, you can't have everything at a convention. No place is going to be perfect. I mean, even Animazement being in a majority of the RCC still doesn't have room for everything, So it's like, what do you do?
Right. But kind of going back to the top of the show, what I mentioned about how this is like very much you can tell just by the fruit of what the event has produced that it is very, very community focused, very community oriented, and very much a part of the community. Like it's so well integrated, I think. And I love that energy. I hope that Ibashocon can continue to grow and thrive using that same ethos, because there's, again, so many other conventions coming around that pop up all the time that are absolutely not like that. So anything that I think really has that homegrown vibe to it, where you can tell like real people with real attachments to the community made this thing. That's what I want to see more of in the anime community. So I want my hats off to the Ibashocon folks, and just keep doing what you're doing. And I think you will, continue to improve in cool and interesting ways, and be a great part of the fabric of the anime world here in North Carolina. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be excited to see what they end up implementing in the future, and if they're gonna outgrow the space or what have you. But I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. We will probably be there.
Yeah.
But yep, I think that takes us to the end of the episode. We yapped more than I expected us to, which we always do.
Gosh.
But Tori, where can people find you online yapping about the fact that the Jujutsu Kaisen dub doesn't come out fast enough for you?
Oh my god, I need the next episode. Please, please, Crunchyroll. I freaking hate you. What was that? Oh yes. Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky. And you can find me over at Worst Waifu. I am also yapping about the same exact thing and posting ridiculous memes over in the Third Impact Anime Discord. So if you want to come be a silly little guy with me, either of those two places.
And I'm also on the Blue Sky, filling out my 2026 media thread, which I've never done one before. And I'm doing it kind of poorly because I went for like almost a month and didn't add anything to it. But I'm back to adding things because, in my defense, I didn't really watch that many things in February anyway. But I'm adding back to it now, so that's been fun. Plus, reposting good art and good jokes, and hopefully keeping the world is dying posting to a minimum. But it's hard to do that these days. But hit me up over on Blue Sky at Ars Arcantum. Also, likewise, hit me up in the Third Impact Anime Discord, which you can find a link to join for free on our website at thirdimpactanime.com, where we post links to all of our previous episodes and also show notes for various episodes, show notes for this episode, which I haven't decided if I want those to be thorough or just kind of minimalist, but I'll work that out. I'll have a conversation with myself later and figure out which one I want to do. But website, thirdimpactanime.com. We also have a Blue Sky for the podcast at thirdimpactanime.bluesky.social. And we have an Instagram, which is just at Third Impact Anime. And that's the vast majority of the places where we post online for you to get the coolest and best updates ever in the world. So, Tori, thank you for joining me for another Con-versations talking about Ibashocon 2026. And we will see you, lovely people, on the next episode, whatever that is. Gosh, I have so many things to edit. This is ridiculous. Anyway, have a good night. Stay in school. And don't forget to do your homework. Don't use ChatGPT, ever.
So correct.